A violent clash between demonstrators and police in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. The protest was in response to the police killings of two black men last week. Police stormed the yard of a homeowner and took protesters to the ground. You can hear people pleading with police to back away, but to no avail. And another dramatic scene from Baton Rouge to show you. It was part of an intense day of protests in the city. More than 160 people were arrested over the weekend.
Police! Police!
And a more peaceful scene here, but the message still the same. Scenes like this have been unfolding across the U.S. Social media has had an enormous impact on the way these two killings have been talked about. Joining me now is the woman who shot each of those videos. Liz Thomas joins me from New Orleans. So Liz, you went down to Baton Rouge, where your alma mater is located, to peacefully protest. And I understand that you went with your cousin and your 17-year-old sister. How did the day start?
Thank you so much, Andrew, first of all, for having me. And the day began extremely peaceful. The protest was actually organized by a group of high school students in Baton Rouge. And we marched to the state capitol, and it was all youth-led, and it was just beautiful, just poems and a great sense of community, peacefully protesting, which is our right. And once the protest was ending, some people decided to break off from the protest, and they wanted to, go onto the interstate like you've seen across the country. And that's when we were met by police who, stopped us in the street and said, we're not going to let you guys go on the interstate. You're going to have to stay off the interstate. And we were like, okay, that's fine. We'll stay off the interstate. Next thing you know, here comes the police in full riot gear, threatening to tear gas us with tear gas masks and huge rifles and assault weapons for people who were just peacefully assembling in the street. It was incredible.
All right, and so we're looking at some of these images, and maybe we should show the image of you and the other protesters on some private property, if we can show those, because it was this person, did the homeowner allow you onto the property, and that's why you decided to go there? Just describe that.
Correct. So in the first video, that's when the police first show up, and they start just dragging anybody in their way, throwing them to the ground, punching them, kicking them, and arresting them. So the homeowner, that home is actually across the street from the first video. And the homeowner came out and said, look, everybody get on my property. It's private property. They can't do anything to you. I'm giving you permission to be here. We were there for about 30, 45 minutes. And then that's when you see from my second video, the police coming onto private property and just dragging people off of the patio, just dragging anybody they see, arresting them, beating them. And that's what you can see in my second video. Yes, we had full permission to be on that private property.
Did you ever get an understanding from the police as to why they were doing this? Why were they arresting people on the private property?
We had no explanation. We were all literally just standing there peacefully. We weren't attacking them. We weren't saying any slander or being vulgar towards them. Next thing you know, we see a huge group of other sheriffs and more people in riot gear just lined up, and we could tell something was about to happen. And all we kept hearing was, leave now or you will be arrested. Leave the area now or you will be arrested. But we were on private property, so we didn't think that they had any jurisdiction to make us leave. And then next thing you know, that's when you see them just march across the street and just chaos. Pure chaos.
And how did this whole thing make you feel? How did this whole ordeal make you feel?
Disheartening, really disappointing and disheartening that the police who are sworn to protect and serve us violently attack us with no reason, right or reason at all. We were peacefully assembling. There was no violence, no guns, no anything. And for them to just literally physically attack us for no reason, people who have the constitutional right to peacefully assemble, it was extremely, extremely disheartening and disappointing.